Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Sunday. We're going to push for it. We're making a morning show. And then after that, I'm going to go see Tom Crusty. And hey, I got the girls here. So if you want to say good morning, they're in the background. They're leaving the studio room. But yeah, everybody wants to say good morning. So, David, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing fantastic.
Say hi. All right. Now you go play, Kate. Okay, bye. Yeah, so if everybody's got a cup of coffee and they're ready, let's go ahead and start. And we'll talk a little bit of 49er football. So if you guys seen the thumbnail, I threw out one of the kickers that I've always thought in 49er history to be a little bit amusing. I have a fondness for him. I thought he was one of those guys, and I'm not the biggest guy out there, so I'm not too short, but I'm not too tall either, right? And when you look at Jose Cortez, you look at the guy and you're like, geez, he's a short guy, right? But he had a big heart. And I thought what was fun about him is yeah, he could boot the ball, but he got to a point where he was more interested in he was more interested in going out and tackling the returner than kicking the ball. And yeah, he didn't last on our team too long. So, David, do you have any fond memories of Jose Cortez?
I truly don't. I mean, it's like I've seen a lot of football, and you have to do something either horribly bad or horribly good for me to remember it. And I don't think he ever did anything horribly bad. You know, I do think he won a few games for us, though, here and there, though. I do think that, but
He's the
I got nothing bad to say about him, though. That's for sure.
he's the XFL kicker we got, the Extreme Football League kicker, and he didn't have a bad leg, but he got to our team and then he did start missing. At first, he was doing pretty good, and then he ended up missing. And there, Steve O down here at the bottom. David, if you don't mind, do you want to pull up Jose Cortez's stats real quick, and then
Yep.
we'll go into a little bit more details? Because there was a point in time where there was a 49er. I think it was a defensive player or somebody grabbed him up on the sidelines by his face mask and told him, "You better quit missing kicks." So poor guy. He does have the title of maybe being the 49ers' worst kicker, but yeah, he was pretty cool. I liked Jose Cortez. I thought he was again the little guy, but he wasn't afraid to go out and make a tackle. And I remember there was some big returns, and he saved the touchdown. So shout out to Jose Cortez.
Dang. He played for 10 NFL teams. His number was 6 with us.
Yep.
Wow. He really did play for 10 NFL teams. He,
They got kicked around a little bit.
that's kind of funny. Um, Field goals attempted 7-6. Wow, I'm not. Ooh. Okay, they're giving ranges here. So inside of 29 yards, he was 9 of 11.
That's not bad.
Between 30 and 39 yards, he was actually better. He was seven. He was 7-1, so I only missed one. 40 to 49 yards, though. This is where we kind of go off kilter. He was 50%. He, you know, then not 50%. Okay, he was 66. But then you got which isn't much better. But then plus 50, he was 1 for 1. That's funny.
Yeah.
72% overall, though. So extra points he never missed.
So what year did he play for us? Was it 2006?
2001
2001. Okay, so
and
that's the
2006, he was on the squad for one game.
oh wow. 49ers 2001 record, because I don't think we did very good in 2001. I think 2002 we made the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I don't think we did. I don't think we did very good in 2001. I think that was I think that's why we didn't do good, because I think he cost us a couple games. All right, so what's your thoughts on Charlie Garner?
Man, he was he was one of those explosive backs, you know. It was like I don't think he's not quite a bruiser, more of a finesse guy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But you get him in some open space, you better watch out.
I really like.
That's what I remember.
I really liked him. I thought he was a really, really talented player. We had him and we had Garrison Hurst at the same time. I believe it was like right there at the same time. I think, and he left us to go to Oakland, and he left with Jerry. And I was just like, oh my gosh, we got like two of our best players are leaving and going to Oakland. And he did well. He did well in Oakland. So, yeah, I think we let him go too quick. I really do.
Yeah, he was only with us for 2 seasons, 99 and 2000,
Yeah.
you know.
And then, yeah.
Hey, average 5.1 and 99 and 4.4 yards per rush in 2000. That's not bad. Dang, 1,229 yards in 99, 1,142 in 2000. Wow.
Does it show what he got in 2002 when he was on the Raiders?
It does. He got 962 yards. Said he played in all the. That must have been the John Gruden, because John Gruden would rotate a couple backs and he liked to pass the ball a lot. But 5.3 average. That's pretty good.
I know John Gruden, he passed the ball because he had Bill Callahan as the coordinator. So it was like Bill Callahan, John Gruden's offense. And I know when Gruden left, because I think he left in 2002. I think he was on the Bucks that season. But Bill Callahan was still running the offense, and it was still John Gruden's playbook. So it was the same thing. But you're right. It was pass happy, and then they sprinkled in the run. And their run really set up their pass, or maybe their pass set up their run. I can't tell you, really, to be truthful. But the reason they did lose that Super Bowl, a lot of people, Tim Brown especially, they switched the playbook. They switched the game plays before the game started, like 2 days ahead of time or something like that. And then the center got, really upset about it, had a nervous breakdown, went AWOL. So I truly believe the Raiders were sabotaged in that Super Bowl, but hey, it's the Raiders, so we won't worry about that too much. But I do think Jerry Rice shouldn't have lost that the way it happened. He was really, really. I hadn't seen another player physically upset the way I seen Jerry Rice upset in that game. At that point, I had seen him, flailing his arms. He was open. He did score a touchdown. Jerry did score a touchdown, but by that time, Rich Gannon had thrown too many interceptions. I think he threw like 4 or 6 interceptions in that Super Bowl, and almost every one of them was like returned for a touchdown. So, your thoughts on Rich Gannon, real quick? He was a Kansas City Chief, and then he made it to the Raiders. So, what do you think about Gannon?
I think he was pretty good, above average. It wasn't necessarily great, but wasn't bad. On a good football team, he's going to win some games, and he could actually throw the ball downfield, and it's just he didn't really like latch onto one team for an incredibly long time like the great ones do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you remember him getting hit by Tony Siragusa in the playoff game?
I don't. Siragusa is a big guy, though.
So Rich Gannon
sounds like that hurt.
Yeah, Rich Gannon. I want to say maybe it was in 2001, or maybe it was in 2001. But they made it. They made it to, I want to say, the conference championship It wasn't the Super Bowl, but they made it to. It was the middle of the playoff game, the bracket, and he got sacked. And Tony Garasusa punched him in between his ribs and his shoulder pads and broke his ribs right there on the spot during the game. There was no flag. I was like, you just seen him punch him. Like he was laying on top of him, and Tony Saragusa punched Rich Gannon. So he broke his ribs. He come out of the game. And Bobby Hoyen, he went into the game. And I think he was number 14 for the Raiders. He was a bad backup. He was worse than Josh Johnson, I think, in my opinion. He was bad. And so, yeah, the Raiders ended up losing that game. And then the Ravens went on to win. So it was 2001. It was 2001 because the Ravens went to the Super Bowl. And I just was like, hey, okay, you're going to let him play that way. But, yeah, for me, Rich Gannon, he was a good quarterback. My dad used to call him Gannon the Cannon. And when he was in Kansas City, he didn't do very well. But that short period of time in Oakland, that's definitely what the Raiders needed. But all right, let's get back to Niner football. What's your thoughts on J.J. Stokes?
We took him in the first round, and he was big enough to the point where all he had to do was gain 10 pounds. He could have been tight end, and big target. What I'm honestly wishing he was a little bit better, and would have stuck around with us for a long time. But that just wasn't the case, He wasn't as bad as the draft pick as Jim Druckenmiller, though. Let's face it, that was probably the worst first-round pick all time right there.
Yeah. Let's see. What do you think about Chris Coleman?
Chris Coleman?
Yeah, I think he was a center or he was a lineman on our team in the 90s, like 97, 98. I got his autograph one year.
Wow. Honestly, I'm trying to remember the guy.
Dollerman. Okay. Dollerman. Sorry. I think Bebop, not Bebop, Steve-O corrected me. It's Dollerman. Chris Dollerman.
Dollerman?
Yeah, type that in. I thought it was Colorman, but he says Dollerman. Type that in. Dollerman. I'm going to do it too. But he was a
Chris. Hold on. We're not talking about the defensive end, Chris Dolman, are we?
Yeah, that's who we're talking about. So sorry. That's who it was because
Okay.
I got his autograph when I met Junior Bryant.
I definitely remember Chris Dolman because he was a really good defensive end. Set the edge, put pressures on the QB. Was a long-time Minnesota Viking, back in the 80s when they had John Randall and the rest of the gang. And he was only with us for 3 years. He was on the tail end of his career, but the man had 21 sacks with Minnesota in 1989, just to say how good he was. With us, he had 11 in 96, 12 in 97, and 15 in 98. I mean, he was one of those players. He stuck around for a long time. I don't know if he actually made the Hall of Fame or not. I mean, his career, he had 150 and a half sacks. So, but yeah.
All right, so we touched on this one a little bit. What's your thoughts on Chris Borland?
His career didn't last long enough, but it was a choice he made. He was a college graduate. He had his degree, and instead of messing up his body and getting a bunch of concussions, and at that point he had seen like Patrick Willis's foot injury. He'd seen I think Anthony Davis, the offensive lineman, he'd seen him get some concussions and retire and then want to come back, but it was he saw what was happening to the team and he said, I don't want this happening to me. Long term, I want to be, I want my body to be all right. So he decided to just retire and pursue a career with his college degree. And I can't really blame the guy,
Yeah, I don't blame him either. My dad always told me, you should try to pick a career so when you're older and your grandkids are around, you can play with them. You have an opportunity to play with your kids when you're, younger. You don't want to tear up your back. You want to be smart. And for the most part, I've listened to him. I've got some sorenesses, but for the most part, I've listened to him. You definitely need to take care of your body, and if there's a job you're doing or a profession, and like you said, he was already in a position where he's graduated from college. He could go into a different business if he chose to, and that's what he did. So, with like the rule changes happening and things, no one ever really knows it's going to happen until it actually happens, right? But we have like Reuben Foster, and I think I said it the other night. He was like Mister, human torpedo, the way he tackled and the way he did things. And now with the rules the way they are, even him, like stepping out because of his personal choices, and he, wasn't listening to the rules. The Niners had to let him go. But the way he played football, do you think we dodged a bullet or maybe a torpedo with him?
With Chris,
With Reuben Foster?
I honestly think it was a bad draft pick because the guy had character issues. But this was like the first 2 years of the John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan regime. And at that point, they'd not realized, like, they weren't on the squad when the Aldon Smith, era happened. And that guy just would have been a great football player if he just would have had his off the field issues handled, you know? And that taught Jed York that he doesn't want guys with character issues because it causes more issues because that guy will get suspended and then you're without your star player, you know. And yeah, Reuben Foster, the whole getting arrested for I think it was battery and his girlfriend. I think was what happened. And then the Niners said, yeah, we can't have a guy like this on our squad, and then they cut him. You know, the sad thing is we traded up for him. And on a side note, he ended up marrying that woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they ended up being married. So
Yeah, I just, one, your personality and stuff does have to mesh in the locker room. And then, if you're doing things that's going to cause you to get, arrested, taken away from the team for several days, the NFL will punish you. They'll make the team punish you. They will, and but his overall like style of football, how he used to like again catapult himself off the field into a player. I think that was really awesome to see. And, like maybe back in the 90s, he would have played better or longer, things would have been accepted. But now moving forward, it seems like if you hit players the wrong way, they're throwing a flag or pulling out the red card, they're
yeah,
throwing, they're going after you. So I think, me personally, besides his personal issues, the way he was playing, I think he would have had to really change his style of how he was going to tackle, how he was going to pursue somebody, because he was definitely eager to hit, and that's what I liked about him. But with the rules being the way they are now, I think he would have had to really mature on the field. So, all right. So, what's your thoughts on? Let's see, Gibson. What's your thoughts on Gibson? He's a vet, right? And they were talking about this might be his last year. I think at the beginning of the season or the ending of last year. So, what's your thoughts on Gibson?
Gibson's been around the league a long time. He's a good, very good, experienced safety. When we signed him, he was on the couch for some reason. I have no idea why he wasn't on an NFL team at that point. But we signed him. Jimmy Ward went down with injury, and it's kind of unfortunate that guy. Maybe it's his playing style, and that's why early in his career he missed a lot of time. But so Gibson comes in. He took the job. He's like, I'm not giving this job back, and he played very well for us all season. And we, are lucky enough to have him for one more year. We have Jair Brown, who's going to be learning under Gibson, and that's now we got Steve Wilkes, the defensive backs defensive coordinator, defensive backs guy. It's like, I honestly think Steve Wilkes is perfect for us. And so is Gibson because, like I said, tail end of his career, he wants to win a ring before he goes out. And he's looking at the 49ers like, you guys are my best chance. So here I come. Muted.
Have you heard about our coach? The one you're just talking about, Steve Wilkes. Do you like his approach about being in the box instead of on the field?
I do because you're able to, survey the whole field. And even if, the play doesn't go away and he sees a mistake, he can holler at his coaches on the sideline, go coach this guy up, and I really do. I like a defensive coordinator sitting in the box like that. Most of the last couple guys we've had were rah on the sideline guys, and they were good defensive coordinators, but we also played a lot of zone. And I honestly would like to see us play a little more press man because it kind of frees up a couple other players, and the defensive back if he's doing it right, he's closer to the wide receiver versus giving the wide receiver space, and that's how teams used to move the ball on us.
Yeah. Do you remember 49er football when we used to, and it was maybe late 90s. My dad used to always throw this out to me, and I was young, so I was learning stuff, but the 49ers would, they wouldn't give up the short passes, and they wouldn't really give up the big passes, but when a wide receiver would go deep, you'd always see a pass interference call. And my dad said that they're going to pass interference. They're going to stop them from getting in the end zone. Watch. And then it would happen, and I'd be upset because it was like a deep pass, and they went all the way down the field. And he said the Niners are going to try to stop them from getting into the end zone or slow them down. And then they'll get the ball back, and then they'll end up winning the game. And I would watch, and it was like, in a sense, like the Niners strategically went after the team, penalized them, give them the big play. They either scored or give them a field goal, but then the Niners got the ball and then just used the rest of the clock and just, won the game. So do you remember that? Because I truly got upset all the time. I was like, why are our corners or safeties, why are these guys so bad when it comes down to the deep pass? And for like an example, like, you have Joe Flacco and Torrey Holt, and they're running, he's running down the field. Dude jumps up, comes down with a flag. It was like every time, Joe Flacco just had to throw the ball in his direction. So, like, a good example is like Brett Favre. He would do it to us all the time when the Niners were playing the Packers, and we'd end up giving a big play up because there was some kind of pass interference down the field. So, what's your thoughts on that, David?
Well, strategy. At the same time, I'm not sure if they were actually doing that on purpose or if our defensive backs just weren't that good. Because at that point, we like I think Merton Hanks might have been the only guy we had back there that was really good, and the rest of them were kind of average, if not a little bit above. But at the same time, if they did do it on purpose and strategy, it would work most of the time. But in the big games when you need to stop them from scoring to win it, then that really hurt us. But I can't say if they did it on purpose or not, though.
Yeah, maybe it was just my dad throwing salt on the wound a little bit, but it definitely seemed like there was a purpose for them doing it, and I wasn't a big fan of it. And then it continued on, and now the NFL has kind of more leaned towards that. You breathe on the wide receiver the wrong way, you're getting a flag. So I think the rules change it's going to even out here soon. I think right now it's favoring the offense because they want to score, but I think as safety and stuff goes on, and it's just going to come down to a point where they're going to have to go back and balance it out. So there's going to be some kind of equalizer. I'm not sure what it's going to necessarily be, but there's going to be some different change. All right. So what's your thoughts on, like we were talking the other night about the kickoff?
Do you think they're going to be performing some new type of swib kick, some kind of new onside kick? Are they? What's your thoughts? How are the NFL special teams going to attack this new rule?
I think they're probably going to start kicking the ball where it's I mean, the squib kick thing is not a bad idea, but you don't want to give them the ball on the 30 plus yard line. You know, that's just a bad idea when it comes down to it. But I think we're going to see those special teamers they're going to put their brain hat on and they're going to figure out a way to go around that rule. That's what the NFL coaches do.
Good morning, Dion.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Congrats on starting a show there, Brian. Always saw you in the comments, man. So, figured I'd drop in for a few moments just to say hello and talk a little football with you guys. See Terradome out there talking about neck. Yeah. Merton Hanks, he would always do that.
The chicken dance.
All right. Let's hear your thoughts, and then I want to have you give us an underrated player of the 49ers era, and it could be any era, that you think.
Okay. Oh, okay. Now you said an underrated player of 49ers era?
Yeah, but before you do that, I'll give you a second to think. But let's go ahead and have you tell us what your thoughts are on the new special teams rule and how the NFL will attack it. Because now
I feel like they just basically handicap special teams. Like literally now the only way you can return the football is on a punt. It's going to be extremely rare that you're going to get anybody coming out of the end zone on those kickoffs unless you just have somebody who doesn't have a leg. And I'm sorry, but I can tell you right now, Moody's got a leg. He's going to be put it way out the back of the end zone. So there isn't really – the only thing you can do, honestly, is what Dave was saying, squib kick. It's about as good as it's going to get if you ever want to see any type of return. So Terradome said it right there, that it's experimental and they could go back after a year. Here's the thing. The NFL and this whole safety thing, I don't buy it. Okay? It's still a gladiator sport. At the end of the day, there's still going to be concussions. You can do certain things to be able to help players. Yes, do a lot of us agree that today's game is a lot softer than, what it previously used to be. I just feel like they're basically going to keep it, keep doing certain things and telling us that it's all for safety, but then it's just basically making it, more of a viable thing for the offense. Because at first you used to start at the 20, now you're at the 25. What are you going to do? Move it up to the 30 next year, to the 40? You're going to say, oh, well, we're just going to go halfway and put you at the 50? Like you're handicapping the defense by giving the offense more room and more leverage than they need. And then on top of that, you're not thinking, hey, I'm taking away from a possible really, really dynamic show-stopping play. See, Devin Hester wouldn't survive in this league. Simply put. Why? He'd be irrelevant unless it was a punt. So it is it good for safety? Yeah, no. Do I like it? Not really. I like old school football. I like it when when you kick off, you get to the 20. I love to see returns. Those things excite me. But if it's just a situation where you're going to keep doing stuff like this to give the offense an advantage and handicap the defense, then you're going to have to start doing stuff for the defense. Get the defense some opportunities. Help them out because the defense always gets handicapped and offense ever gets things. Think about it like this. If me and Dave are playing, Dave's the wide receiver, I'm the DB, and we both have our hands on the ball as we go to the ground, who gets the ball? Dave. Why? Because he's on offense. Why don't I get the ball? It's a valid argument. So for me, the rule kind of is what it is. We'll see how it works out, but honestly, I think it's just they just eliminated the kickoff altogether. That's the point that don't do kickoffs. Just give them the ball at 25.
Every time, right?
Every time.
But they can't do that because of the NFL player union. They'll eliminate too many jobs. And then you don't need really 53 guys on a roster or 57. You'll really eliminate a whole bunch of players. I think it's going to be higher kicks in the air. I think there'll be swib kicks. I think they're going to you still have to catch the ball. If you don't catch the ball, that ball's live. So if the ball goes up in the air longer and defenders can rush down there and like get in your face, and like make you flinch, that's where, it's going to happen. And Jake Moody definitely can kick it out of the end zone, but he definitely can also kick it. He can pinpoint kicks. He can put it on the 2. So what I like is there's going to be some knuckleheads out there that are going to try to return it. And when they try to return it, then they're going to fumble. And that's where I'm excited about special teams.
Okay.
Let's pass it to David real quick because I know he wants to hear it, but then I want to hear what you think about an underrated player that is a Niner that we just don't talk about too much. So, David.
So the NFL's, they're worried about concussions and safety. And I got to shout out a 49er offensive lineman from back in the day, a guy named Steve Wallace. He had his helmet, and then he had like an exoskeleton helmet on top of that helmet. Like he glued a helmet on a helmet.
Yep.
I don't think the guy ever missed a game for concussion. I keep going back through my memory. It's like, did he ever miss a game from a concussion? It was always like a, leg injury or something like that if he had to miss anything.
Yeah, it almost looked like the ones that they wear in practice.
Yes, it almost did.
Yeah, I mean, hell, back in the day, y'all remember the big neck rolls?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mike Allstott and stuff like that. Yeah, man, it would be funny. Keep going, Dave.
But, the NFL's done all kinds of research because they're trying to cut down on concussions. Why haven't you looked at that man and what he did with his helmet? And, we have all this technology. You guys have billions of dollars. Why don't you dump money into the equipment to make it safer for the players?
You're a nonprofit, for God's sake.
I'm sure you could design a helmet that will drastically cut down on concussions. I'm sure it can happen.
Yeah. All right, Dion, let's hear it. We've thrown out some players. We were talking about Charlie Garner. We talked about J.J. Stokes. We talked about Chris Dolman on the defensive line, Jeff Ulbrich, Chris Borland. I think I might have said his name, Jose Cortez. So just a 49er that doesn't necessarily get a lot of name, or shine on him. And somebody that, we talked about Reuben Foster for a minute. So, again, anybody you want to talk about?
I really don't have an underrated guy. I'll have to say the tandem that we had when Harbaugh was here, when we had the kill zone, was probably one of the most underrated safety tandems that we've ever had. So I'll say it was Hittner and Golson. Like those two, I mean, coming across that middle was it was like a death trap. Because at that time when they were playing, they still, were trying to, mold the league into what it is today, but they didn't do that. And Tom Rathman was definitely underrated because he was probably one of the best fullbacks / running backs ever. He's a blue collar guy. Puts his helmet on, goes out there, does his job, goes home. And you appreciate those guys because they do things that people really don't see. You know what I mean? But if I had to give you a true underrated player, I haven't seen much of this guy play, but I'm going to go with Trey Lance. All right. And the reason I'm going to state that he's very underrated is because everyone counts him out. Everybody. Like, there's people outside of the building. There's people in the building. There's people in the fan base. It's, it just, hey, he's nothing. He's a bust. This is trash. Why did we do this? So look at it like this. We got Javon Kinlaw. He ain't done nothing. He's still here though. Why? Because you're not going to pull another D Ford. You're not going to pay another defensive lineman to sit at home and do nothing. Now, D Ford, by the way, could have did us a solid and just retired, which would have opened up more money. But we knew he wasn't going to do that because he got to survive. He got to eat. I'm not going to be mad at the man for going out there and getting his money because the NFL makes a ton of money off these players, and what they're giving them is pennies on the dollar, basically. But at the same time, it's like we all have seen that Kinlaw can't stay healthy. This isn't about Trey not being healthy. His first year, simply put, they said they was going with Jimmy. When Kyle tried to insert him into the offense, what did the locker room do? Revolt. Don't do that. You're messing with Jimmy's routine, blah, blah, blah. And you listened. And Then you have guys like Jake Brendel, our starting center, come out and make a real snarky comment. Oh, yeah, he bought us little stereo systems, but Purdy's bringing us wins. That's supposed to be your boy. Why would you say that? Did you think before you spoke, or you just spoke? And, of course, the countless media members that count him out left and right, the Sam Machos of the world, the Shady McCoys, the Steve Smiths, we go on and on. So my thing is, honestly, he's going to be very underrated. And if he gets a chance, I don't believe he will. But if he gets a chance, he can go out there and show the league who he really is. The reason I don't believe he will is because I know how I've been watching Kyle very, very closely. Very narcissistic, very egotistical human being. And when he sees what he sees and he likes what he likes, there's no changing his mind.
That just give me a question, man. So thoughts are coming in my head. And David, anytime you have questions, throw them out as well. But so Dion, did we move off of Mike Nolan too fast? I know we liked Singletary. Singletary was, passionate, man of God. We, that's not anything to, joke about.
Mm-hmm.
I love God as well, but very passionate, and he was a rah guy in the locker room. And we were building a team. It was taking us a while. We kept going through coordinators, and we had Mike Marks as a coordinator, Norv Turner as a coordinator. I think Jim Mora was our coordinator. We had a lot of good names for coordinators, but we were going up and down with the quarterback because, again, Alex Smith got hurt. Like his first season, we had him, and then we went back and forth with JT O'Sullivan, and we just had a different quarterback stepping up. Troy Smith was out there, and so again, did we move off of Mike Nolan too fast?
Honestly, I think we did because if you don't give people a chance to build the team, they're never going to be able to do it. If I was an owner, I would give somebody 3 years. I feel that that's more than enough time for you to build a team to be competitive. And as long as within those 3 years you are continually going in an upward trajectory, I'm not going to be mad about it. You have to think about it. The NFL is a business. So if it's a business, what do businesses like? Results. And what else do they like? Money. And I think, honestly, a lot of the reasons that we had some issues early on was the fact that Jed York was a young owner. And he didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
They handed him his team. They basically handed him the team. Yes, his parents, came in and whatnot, but they handed him the team and he was like, okay, I'm the fate. I have no what? Like that's like somebody walking up, giving you $1 billion and then just walking away. They say nothing. And then you look at this like, what? I've never had this kind of money. What am I supposed to do with this? You know what I'm saying? You're going to have that and instantly you're going to be like, wow, I got $1 billion. But then a couple minutes later, reality is going to set in. I don't even know what the hell to do. So for me, I think part of it, a lot of the reason that we went through the struggle was because we had a young owner who was not very aware of what he was doing. And now he's latched on to somebody that he feels is actually going to be, good and consistent and things like that. My thing is, I'm really truthfully worried about Kyle Shanahan becoming Andy Reid when he was with Philadelphia. Yeah. I don't want and people understand me. I don't want to be competitive. I don't care about that.
Nope.
Because you know what competitive gets you at the end of the year? The couch. Like everybody else. I don't want to be competitive anymore. It's time for you to deliver on your promise, man. You came here to win Super Bowls. You got us to one. And you got comfortable against the worst person to get comfortable against ever in life. You've been to several NFC championship games. We can't help what happened to Brock Purdy.
All right. I love the passion. So I got to pass it. You can, if you got to leave, just let me know. But as long as you're here, I'm going to keep asking you questions. David, David knows. Jump in. David knows. So we've been talking, and this was a little bit of a controversy question. And sure, we all want it to be this situation, but it can't be. Kinlaw for Chase Young, we do it in a heartbeat, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we threw it out there. What would you do? Would you let Juwan go for Chase Young? And I said I would, because we got enough guys that can catch the ball, right? We don't have enough guys who can sack the quarterback. So if I'm giving up somebody who we already can replace on offense for a position for a need that we don't have on the other side of the ball, I'm doing it. So let's hear your thoughts.
Oh, you're asking me that?
Yep.
No, I don't want no parts of Chase now,
Okay.
and I'll tell you why. Can't stay on the field. The 49ers have this undying love for injury-prone players. I have no idea why. Maybe it's because John Lynch got injured a few times in his career. He's got a soft spot. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I want no parts of somebody who can't stay on the field. And when he was on the field, there wasn't a lot. There wasn't a ton of production. Like, this guy wasn't wrecking the league as people thought he would. You know what I'm saying? Like, I appreciate the fact that, Nick Bosa would have his Ohio State running mate opposite of him, and they called him the Predator, all that stuff. That's all fine and dandy. That's nice. That's cute. But if you ain't on the field, what's the point? I have no aspirations of wasting my time with someone who cannot stay on the field and be productive. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to pull up his numbers and whatnot right now.
Yeah, because
And
I think his first year he did good. His second year he got hurt, and then his third year he kind of fizzled out. So this would be his fourth year where he should be recovered. He should be able to, do something. But I see your point. So in the same mindset, would you give up somebody like Juwan for somebody like Chase Young who could stay healthy?
If someone could stay healthy, see, I got a soft spot for Juwan. I really do. Because I love what he does. I don't care about his practice. A lot of people say, well, he doesn't practice well. Doesn't matter. When we need a first down, who do we throw the ball to? If we're in the red zone, he's got the height. He's got the know-how. He can go up there and get it. But to be honest with you, if you were telling me give up Juwan Jennings for a Yannick Ngakoue or a Danielle Hunter, yeah, go ahead. Not hurting my feelings. I love him. I'd still follow him because I do follow other players, But those dudes, can you think about that, Brian? Just listen to the line. Nick Bosa, Javon Hargrave, Eric Armstead, Yannick Ngakoue. We are going to come off the edge so fast the quarterback has no time to blink or breathe. We are coming up the gut so, the bull rush will be just disgusting. And then when we're rotating, we're not losing a step. Because I still have Drake Jackson, the man who barely played and batted down the most balls, by an NFL defensive lineman all year long. He literally led our team in batted passes.
Thank you. That's what I want because, it's not the name on the back. You see Moody right there. It's not the name on the back. It's the name on the front. So if that guy right there could get to the Super Bowl and kick the game-winning field goal, I'm down. If he's not kicking the game-winning field goal, I want a different kicker next year. All right. I have no love. All right. It's like that. You're either going to win it for me. I don't want a participation trophy. I don't want to get there and take pictures. I want to win. It's been like 28 years now. I'm tired of all this craziness. Okay. We ended our quarterback. Our quarterback got hurt. Steve Young. Then we had Jeff Garcia. He was okay, right? Then the locker room exploded. They wanted Tim Rattay over him. We lost T.O. in the whole situation. He left and he kicked Garcia out. Then our quarterback of the future, who opened up the car door for his mom, was picked. Okay, I like moms. I want to be nice to my mom too, and I'm going to open up the car door. But if you tell me that's the reason we drafted him over Aaron Rodgers is because he didn't open up the car door for his mom, I gotta see the whole situation. Was he on the other side of the car? Mad at, Like, come on, because my dad would be like, hey, I'm opening up your mom's door, okay? That's my lady, that's your mama. If I'm not there, then you better get the door. You better have the front door, with the restaurant or something. So that's
like when you were a kid, what did your dad tell you to do when he left? Take care of the house.
Yep.
Why? I don't care how small, how short, I don't care. You're the man of the house right now because I got to go to work. Take care of things. Make sure things are okay. So we would do it without question, without thought. Why? Because it's what we were told. But I love the passion that you have, man. And I'm with you. Like me personally, once again, I don't feel that Trey Lance is going to get the opportunity. If Brock Purdy is healthy and ready to go, you can get Trey Lance, you can kiss your starting opportunity goodbye. Outside of, God forbid, another injury happening to the quarterback, which seems to be the unfortunate situation that we wind up in every single year here, outside of 2019 to an extent. But it's just since Kyle got here, my problem with him has been that he didn't start off the right way. You brought in a bridge quarterback because you were too busy loving on Kirk Cousins.
He settled for Hoyer. He totally settled for Hoyer. He did move up for CJ Beathard. So he did see something in CJ. But
why would you see something in CJ Beathard and not Deshaun Watson or Patrick Mahomes or any of the other quarterbacks that seem to be a hell of a lot better than him? Like, my thing is
he built the defense first and used the later draft picks to go after a quarterback that he thought he could try to groom, right? He settled on Hoyer, which is not, hindsight looking back, a good decision. But he thought, I've had work and experience with Hoyer. I can make it work. Well, Hoyer came out and did really well for a little while, but then he started seeing ghost. The offensive line had some problems, and then,
a lot of problems.
You remember the big 39-41 game or something like that, or the Rams game? The Niners were in black uniforms, the Rams were in yellow uniforms, and it was back and forth. Hoyer, if he would have won that game, the Niners would have been a different projection. They would have totally went in a different direction the first season. But he got hurt, or mentally afraid, and then we put CJ in there. And this is my big, I like CJ. He stood up there. He held his ground. He did what Kyle told him to do, but he didn't improvise. He did exactly what Kyle said.
He ran the offense.
Kyle says, do this. That's what he did. He didn't bootleg out or do anything, and he kept getting hit. And then the gel of the line was forming. The offense was learning the playbook because it takes so long for our team to learn. So then here comes Mr. Jimmy G playing backyard football. I'm not going to listen to Kyle because I don't know the playbook yet, right? Wins the 5 games in a row. We're like, hey, we got the next Messiah, and we stop and we say no to Tom Brady again. So, yeah.
I got a good question for both of y'all because I really want to hear this. So we all know Kyle has that man crush on Mr. Cousins. Mr. Cousins has informed the Minnesota Vikings he ain't coming back. Now, I have been, if you've ever seen me and Brian, I know you have because you've been in my chats. I don't want Kirk Cousins. He ain't bringing no Super Bowls to nobody. You've been in Minnesota robbing them for years. What quarterback with aspirations of winning a Super Bowl willingly takes franchise tag? Someone who doesn't care. Someone who is looking to get paid. And I'm pretty sure the reason that he's leaving Minnesota is because they tired of paying him to give them nothing. And everybody is going to say, he's there, man. Kyle can finally go get his guy. No, don't do that. You know why? He's on the back end of his career, and he's never going to bring you anything. I'm sorry. People always tell me, well, man, you can't count him out. What has he done? Has he barely even won a playoff game, people? So my question to you guys is, Mr. Cousins is on the market. How would you feel? I know I'd be livid if he brought him in. I would. It would just enrage me to no end because you're wasting money. Because this guy ain't about to bring you nothing. He looked good in the regular season. His stats look amazing. But when the postseason comes, he disappeared. So how would you feel if Kyle decided to bring in Mr. Cousins?
David, go first. Go first, please.
I'm so against it. It's not funny. I mean, this guy has done nothing but collect checks his whole career.
I'm gonna grab my two.
And he didn't back in the day. He had the opportunity to sign with us when he was in his prime. He chose to go for the guaranteed money in Minnesota. So that should show you what he's about. He's about the money. He's not about winning Super Bowls. On top of that, they're going to be 36 by the time we're ready to sign him, and might have a couple years left in the tank. If we're building a dynasty, why do we want an old quarterback? It just doesn't make sense. We have 2 young guys. One we know can do a pretty good job. The other one has an incredibly high ceiling, and I want to see him on the field. So, at this point, it's like build dynasty or potentially not win now because Kirk Cousins does nothing in the playoffs. So, make your choice, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. I got it. I love this. These are the types of questions that I love to ask people because I love to see the reactions and what you'll say. Because my number one reason that I'll tell you the number one reason really quick before you explain how you would feel. The number one reason Kirk Cousins won't be here is because of a man named Parag Marathe. You know why? Parag's the numbers guy. And you know what? He ain't ready to pay nobody, especially not a quarterback. You really think Parag Marathe is going to go ahead and give Kirk Cousins an absorbent amount of money, $40 million a year, to fail? I don't think so.
Okay, so Parag's no longer involved as heavily as he was before. So I definitely could see this happening. I'm not going to be in favor of it. Would I be upset? I'm not going to be shocked. I've said it for years. He likes Kirk Cousins. They've been trying to get Kirk Cousins since this team started. I really think we were trying to go after Kirk Cousins when we started this team, but he had to settle for Brian Hoyer because the Redskins were not playing with us. We don't get along with the Redskins. It's really really
well, yeah, Kyle and his daddy, they don't. Yeah, the Snyders.
And even prior to that, Corey, I think you got YouTube on in the background.
Yeah, I'm so sorry I'm late.
It's okay. So what happened with Kirk Cousins and the Washington Redskins and the Shanahans, that's bad. But before that, the Niners in Washington, we don't really get along. We've had some playoff battles, and just they don't want to see us do any good. And it's just the whole thing there. But as far as Kirk Cousins being trash, he's not trash, but there's definitely something that has to be said about him winning the big game or that game that it's the most highlighted game or everybody's watching. It's something funny. Was it Kyle who let the Super Bowl get away from him, or was it his quarterback? Then you look at Kirk Cousins. He had that big lead against the Colts, and then what was it? It wasn't Kirk Cousins who had the big lead. It was Matt Ryan, right? And then Matt Ryan lost it. So again, was it Kyle or was it his quarterback? So then you look at Kirk Cousins, and there was that choice. They had RG3, and he was great, but he tore his knee up. Then they got Kirk Cousins. He sat for a long time during that time, watching and learning, and they're like, we got 2 starting quarterbacks, so we know Kyle likes him. So here's a thought. You look at Jared Goff, right? He took the Rams to the Super Bowl, but he lost. Right? They get rid of him. They don't like him in LA. He goes to Detroit. Detroit's looking really good. You look at Matthew Stafford.
They're scary.
You look at Matthew
Stafford. They're scary good. Like I'll tell you right now. Right now, much respect to you, brother. Much respect. When he came out there, everybody made fun of him talking about biting off kneecaps. They bit off a lot more kneecaps than they have in more recent years, and gave a lot of teams a big scare when they played. That team is behind him, and that is great. You love a coach like that.
Yeah. So you look at something like that, and then you look at Matthew Stafford. Everybody's like, he's a great quarterback. He's got a lot of talent. Same thing with Kirk Cousins, but he's not winning those big games. Then he comes to a different team, and boom, he wins, right? Kirk Cousins, he could come to the Niners and truly win. Do I want him on our team? No, but I've been saying it since Kyle's gotten here in 2017 that he's going to be on the 49ers team. That's why we passed on Mahomes. That's why we passed on Watson.
Yeah.
And it's funny because every one of those quarterbacks that we've passed on, we've tried to go and get. We tried to get Sam Darnold before. It went Watson. It went Stafford. It went Sam Darnold. Then we traded up to get, Trey Lance. Mm-hmm. The night before the draft, we call Aaron Rodgers, his coach. You guys want to trade Aaron Rodgers? So the whole idea is I'm not behind or against quarterbacks or rookies, but this team doesn't need a rookie. We need a veteran. We need a veteran quarterback that can step in and win games. And yes, he has to have the cojones to be like, look, I'm going to ad lib. I'm going to throw the ball where I need to throw it to. And you know what? At the end of the game, you can cuss me out, but we're lifting the Lombardi trophy. And I think that was the difference between Jimmy at the time because Jimmy first came in and was like, hey, I'm Jimmy G. You guys called me. And then at a certain point, the interceptions started happening. He kept getting hurt. He lost his credibility in the locker room. He lost his credibility as a player. And now he's not on the team. And we're like stuck because he was still on the team. We didn't invest in our young rookie quarterback. But again, we didn't want to do that, right? Because we're supposed to be winning right now. We go and draft a rookie quarterback. And again, I just got done saying it. We tried to trade for a veteran before we went for Trey. I like Trey. I wanted to draft him too. I was in Sacramento talking to my 49er friend at work. The dude had 1 interception at NDSU. I'm like, this dude's he's huge. I don't want Trevor Lawrence. He's great for the Jaguars. We weren't going to get him. I liked Zach Wilson, BYU, but the problem with him is he had a shoulder injury already. Then, you look at Fields, and I liked Fields, but the problem with him is he has a medical issue, and we're afraid. I'm going to be honest. The Niners were afraid that if he gets hit, he might have a seizure. So they stepped away from him. Okay, that might be a bad decision, but he was probably the best one to come in. Everybody kept throwing out Mac Jones, and I knew for a fact it wasn't going to be Mac Jones because of his DUI issues. The Niners don't like DUIs. We had Steve Young. He drank milk in the locker room. We don't play around with DUIs.
And we also had one of the greatest pass rushers to ever live for the shortest span of time who couldn't stay away from that bottle and no longer had a career. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. We get rid of him. So everybody was saying Mac Jones, and I was like, nah, it ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen. So then we go for Trey Lance, who has a great ceiling, but he needs the most retooling. And he breaks his finger right in preseason, and nobody wants to talk about it. They keep it hush. We run him like a running back in the Cardinal game. He injures his knee. He would have started the next game, but he injured his knee. So we put Jimmy back out there against, I want to say, the Colts. And, then he doesn't play until Seattle's game or the Texan game later in the year. And he almost lost that game if it wasn't for Debo catching the big pass. So again, he's got a lot of intangibles. He's got that ability to go deep. But if we're not going to play him, then, we got to sit him. And if we're going to sit him, then we need to bring in a veteran quarterback so we can win right now, because we can't keep this whole team together forever. Like we were just saying, maybe Juwan's got to go or Mitchell's got to go. Maybe Kittle will go somewhere, right? But right now we got a window. We need that quarterback right now who can just win it. If it's the rookie quarterback, okay. But this team doesn't seem like it's going to believe in the rookie quarterback.
I'd go with, I wouldn't be opposed to letting go of, Juwan for the right person, or honestly, Elijah Mitchell. The reason being is you love the dude when he's on the field. He just ain't never on the field. And, it just, with me, I think the quarterback situation has been handled incorrectly since Kyle stepped in the door. And I don't think he really, because we all know he definitely didn't want Jimmy. And for me, my thought process, I like what you said about why we didn't draft Mac Jones with the DUIs and stuff, because I wasn't necessarily aware of that. But I felt like we weren't going to draft Mac Jones because it was basically Jimmy 2.0. And Jed York was like, you're not going to draft the same guy. Like, this doesn't make sense. We didn't waste all those picks for you to go up and draft another Jimmy Garoppolo. That's dumb. And then, to be honest with you, if anybody wants to draft, what did Mac Jones say when he walked up to Roger Goodell? This is where I wanted to be anyway. There's a guy out there on Instagram. His name's Benchwarmer Ben. You never seen him. He's hilarious. He always talks about the NFL, and he basically he literally mimics players. He mimics Mac Jones, and anytime Tom Brady's around, he goes, "Oh, Dad, are you coming home?" Like, it's funny, but it's just, for me, I honestly say that we won a Super Bowl. All of us as fans won a Super Bowl. We don't care how we get it, by hook or crook. We won it. And I'm sorry, if York gives Shanahan another extension for just a playoff run, I'm going to be pissed. Because at the end of the day, you know what Jeffrey Lurie did to Andy Reid? Look, man, I gave you more than enough time, bro. It's time to get up out of here. I got to find someone else. And what magically happened with Doug Peterson? Won a Super Bowl. Now, mind you, Andy went over to Kansas City, found Patrick Mahomes. Now he's got 2 under his belt. And he's been to 3 in the last couple of years? So That's not a bad look. But it's
Yeah.
a situation of the correct coach and quarterback combination to get the job done. And I really want Kyle to have figured it out and get it done. But my thing is, to be honest, if we don't win a Super Bowl within the next 2 years, Kyle, you need to go. And that's just me. I know a lot of people love him. They're like, you can't blame. I don't care. There are other coaches who have been fired for lesser offenses. I can't keep just hanging out with you because you're just here. That you're wasting my time. You're not bringing in a Super Bowl championship, and I don't know why. But you better figure it out.
I get the feeling, man, you're a lot in the same mindset as me. And I know Corey's point on this one here. You know, we want to stay relevant, right?
Yes.
We want to be able to compete every year. But I tell you what, if we won a Super Bowl this year, I'd be okay with missing the playoffs a couple of years in a row. I really would. I want that Lombardi so bad. We go 4 years without making the playoffs or being a bad team. I'll take it. But I want to win the Super Bowl now. I don't want to win it 5 years from now. I want to win it now. Sure, in 5 years, we'll be contenders again, because that 4 years will be up, right? But look at the Eagles, like you were just saying. Philadelphia Eagles with Andy Reid, 4 NFC championship games with Donovan McNabb. They go to the Super Bowl and then lose the Super Bowl. That's us right now. We are now the Philadelphia Eagles, the Levi Eagles, right? I don't want that. I don't want that. Corey, go ahead. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I overslept today.
No, you never. You're always
Good, bro.
on time. You're always on time.
Yeah, I do not want Kirk Cousins, but I'm afraid. I am afraid that the Niners going to do it because Kyle Shanahan love with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
So I'm afraid it's going to happen. I don't want it to happen. I want to see our young quarterback. I want to see Brock Purdy do it. Give them a chance. But yes, I do want to go to the Super Bowl and win. And I want to keep on winning. I want to keep on being competitive. I don't want to be in a Rams situation. We went through that for 20 or 30-something years now. I've seen all 5 Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
And I want the 6. And I want the 7. I want to beat the Patriots. I want to outdo the Patriots. I don't want to say the 49ers is the greatest organization, greatest football team out there. None of these other teams can walk the same field as the 49ers. They can't lace up the same shoes as the 49ers.
And I can appreciate those comments, man, because what happened with us was we were a little relevant back in the day. But to be honest with you, literally, the same year I was born was the year we won our first Super Bowl in '81. But what I will tell you is I watched the other 4. And that's what drew me to the team as a fan. When I was little, my mama taught me colors. Pick a color. And it was Joe Montana to Jerry Rice.
Yep.
When that happened, and I saw Jerry, and he ran that touchdown in, that team, the red one, that's the 49ers, baby. That's my team. And my mother told me very specifically, if that is your team, you are with them, win, lose, or draw. I don't care if they suck for the rest of your existence on this planet Earth. That is your team. You stick to it.
Yep.
And to be honest with you, because I saw that balling up, said to Brian, let me explain this to you. I don't think that Brian is saying he's really okay with being mediocre the next couple of years. Honestly, I think what Brian is saying is I want the formula the Chiefs have. I want to win, figure out how to retool, and do it again.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard to repeat. So hard to repeat.
Yeah.
Like, you ain't had a back-to-back Super Bowl winner since what, the Patriots? If I'm not mistaken. Wasn't it them? They were the last ones to go back-to-back. So here's the thing. I would rather be able to win and retool the way that the Chiefs do.
Yep.
Because they seem to not miss a step. Everybody freaked out when Tyreek Hill left. They were like, dang, man, what are they going to do? Then saw Patrick Mahomes. He just threw ball to whoever the hell it was. Yes, did he have to be a little more accurate? Of course, because Tyreek Hill has freakish body control. I don't think anybody in the NFL has that. I will consistently tell him and remind him you are not the fastest man in the NFL, and you never will be because your form is trash. That's besides the point. But you want to retool like the Chiefs, and you want to get out there and make it happen. His fastest man in the NFL is his teammate Raheem Mostert at 23.09 miles per hour when he was playing for us on that run along against the Jets. There's not been a faster time track. It is what it is.
Yeah.
David, how would you feel? I mean, like, again, the Niners go to the Super Bowl, and then something tragic happens, right? Say something really bad happens, and we just can't keep the team together. Maybe it's not this year for the Super Bowl. Maybe it's 2 years from now. Maybe Kittle, he's like, hey, I'm just beat up too bad. Trent Williams wants to retire. Bosa's like, I got my chip, dude. I'm out, right? Whatever. The whole team just explodes, and we have to rebuild, but we got that Super Bowl. How upset would you be? I mean, like, because ultimately getting to the Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl is the goal. But if we have to go like 4 years before we're relevant again, do you think that's going to be worth it?
I honestly think it would be, just because look at how long it's been since we've actually won it, but at the same time, it would be incredibly disappointing because I think John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan are trying to build a dynasty, but to be a dynasty, you have to win Super Bowls.
Great.
So, the team that we have on the field, it's not like they're all old. We got a couple guys that are getting up there in years, and they have an opportunity to build the dynasty, but we got to see that chip, got to see that Super Bowl. This year is the way I'm looking at it. It could be the best year that for us to actually win it, And if it comes down to the quarterback situation, like I said, I want to see Trey Lance on the field playing. That's what he needs. He needs reps.
Yep.
And I totally blame. I actually blame Kyle for drafting a guy that is raw, with a high ceiling and not doing the right thing and giving him playing time, because he's in win now mode. But why would you draft a guy needs to work on his craft if you're wanting to win right now? So
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at what you said, Dave. Just balling it up is killing me. Keep going, Dave.
Steve-O. That's Steve-O Supreme.
That's Steve-O. That's his burner account. He changed his name now.
He changed his name. I think the balling it up was what he's going to use on basketball chats, and I don't remember what. I think it was like drunk 49er fan or something like that for most of the 49er chats. Something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know why I guess Kyle's thinking, oh, we got a good defense, we can win. We get better trade, but yeah, we should have had got a veteran.
Yeah, you got to give them the opportunity to win. To be honest with you, the only people in our direct division that are going to give us any problems are going to be the Seahawks, because the Cardinals are rebuilding and they're going to be a dumpster fire. They're stuck with Kyler Murray. Nobody's going to take that contract for a quarterback who can barely see over the offensive line.
Yeah,
the Rams are trash. They had the worst start of any team that won a Super Bowl for the following year. Just horrendous. And then when you look at the NFC, the only real people that are contenders in the NFC, honestly, are going to be the Eagles. Everyone else, I'm not really afraid of. Honestly, like there's nobody in the NFC North that's going to scare me. Aaron Rodgers is in the AFC now. So NFC North is pretty much wide open. Would you anticipate the Vikings winning it? Yeah, probably, because they'll have the most experienced quarterback. But you never know. Detroit might come up and shock the world.
Yep.
So we've got more than enough to be able to pull this W off. We just need to go out there, execute, and do it, and no longer sit idle and allow things to take us out. We can no longer do that. Like you've got to have a full-on game plan. And the only other thing I'll say, because I got to get up out of here, the only other thing I'll say is, fan base, stop being so hard on Trey Lance, man. Stop. It just
Dion,
you don't.
man.
If you don't know anything about the kid, look him up, man. His story alone will make you understand why he is the person that he is and why he does what he does, man. We're talking about a kid who literally wanted to play for his hometown, Minnesota Golden Gophers, and they wanted to turn him into a damn safety. They wouldn't even let him try out for quarterback. Like this kid's got perseverance, and his parents raised him properly. Like, you gotta get off of him, man. Don't call him a bust if you ain't seen nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody knows I could not stand Jalen Hurd because he was never on the damn field. But I can't truthfully call him a bust. You know why? Never saw him really play. I mean, it's what it is.
Yeah. Dion, dude, I know you got to get going. I really love the interaction. Love to have you come on again. But before you go, I'm going to tell you humbly my 49er prediction for the season. I'm going to give you my two games because I don't think we're going to lose to anyone. I'm going to be honest with you. But there's those games that you got your butterflies going or whatnot. You know,
I'm scared of the Ravens. I'm telling you that right now. I'm scared of the Ravens. Lamar actually has receivers, people. He actually has viable receivers outside of what was his name, Mark Andrews.
So that's what I'm getting at. I'm going to tell you real quick. We're going 15-2. I'm a little nervous I'm a little bit nervous about the Steelers. I'm a little bit nervous about the Ravens. The Steelers don't lose at home. They haven't lost at home since 2014. It's like been 9 years since they've won at home. They usually play on the road to start out week one, but this is going to be at home. So I do think, depending on, even if Purdy comes in and he's not, it's going to take some time to warm up. We typically start slow. So I think the Steelers could be a game. I want to beat everybody. Remember that. But then have you heard the term bird hunt yet? We go on like 5 games. Okay, so when you look at the schedule next time, just remember.
We got some birds.
We're going bird hunting. We got 5 bird games in a row, and we finished. I think we finished with the Ravens on Christmas Eve. Christmas, and I told everybody, I want my kids to have a good Christmas. That's the most important thing. But if the Ravens beat us, I'm not going to be happy. But I'll be happy for my kids, right? That's the most important thing. But the Ravens. So I'm saying 15-2. I talk a lot. What's your prediction before you leave? What's your humble 49er? No one take receipts, but I'm writing it down right now.
Honestly, I'm going to say 14-3.
All right.
And I'll tell you this. I'm afraid I don't like a healthy Lamar with actual receivers. I don't like that at all because people keep underestimating them, and the boy's got a cannon for an arm. I apologize. The man's got a cannon for an arm. I don't like calling men, boys. But I'm trying to take a look at it. So I see what you're saying. So we play the Seahawks, then the Eagles, then the Seahawks, then the Cards, and then the Ravens. Now, be honest with you, when we look at our schedule, it's the Ravens game that scares the crap out of me. The Eagles game, and honestly, I feel like we might drop one to the Seahawks. Those are the 3 losses that I would have for us. We might drop one to the Seahawks. We're not losing to the Cowboys. That's not going to happen.
All right. Last question. I'll let you go for sure. Would you rather win in Seattle on Thanksgiving or lose in Santa Clara on Christmas?
Losing Santa Clara on Christmas.
Thank you.
I want no parts of it. I don't want Seattle winning and eating that turkey leg again. No.
We're doing Seattle this year.
No, I don't want it. I'd look, my Christmas present for me will come next year in February. Yeah. That's my Christmas present. Yeah. I don't care about that. I don't care if I don't get nothing for Christmas this year. All I want is y'all to get that Lombardi so I can go into Rams chats and troll them as much as possible. I will be on Rudy's show all day long, trolling the crap out of him, talking about the champs are here. We ain't going nowhere. And oh, by the way, we're not going to start. We're not going to have what they go 3-14.
Yeah,
pathetic. God,
Dion, thank you so much. Tell everybody, please, before you leave.
Dion, Let me say something before Deion leaves.
Oh, that's my guy. What's up, Corey?
I'm happy to see you. Happy to be on here with you. I always wanted to be on your show or be with you. Do a show
Oh man,
with you.
that ain't nothing. That ain't nothing. We'll set something up. I still have one more show I have to do. Actually, I would love the cast that we got right here to come and hang out with me. I got to talk about my favorite position in football, defensive back, baby.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about.
And we got to talk about all the DBs we have, man. I already talked about the safeties, and I separate DBs and safeties. It's two different positions. But I do have to do that. So when I schedule that, man, I'll throw it in our chat on Twitter. And yeah, everybody welcome, man. Y'all all know me. You know, it's all good. And Bryant, once again, congratulations on getting in the game. Continue to keep doing your thing, brother. We will all continually support you. Nothing but love.
Thank you. But before you go, because I have people sometimes that might not be subscribed to you or know where they can find you. This might be the first time they find you. So please, can you plug your channel for us? So, and I'll put it in the descriptions later so they can find you as well. But thank you.
Yeah, it's just it's the name you see right there on the screen, Niner Game Podcast. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can follow me on YouTube at that, and then on Twitter I'm at SwiftD, SWIFTDEE, and 49er_Deion on Instagram. But appreciate y'all for having me, man. Thank you so much, Bryant. Everybody, nothing but love. John Jay, everybody, be easy.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, John, sorry for making you wait so long, but really appreciate you showing up. I'm still here in Stockton, so I'll be leaving the house a little bit later, but I'm definitely looking for the notifications. If you hear anything, definitely let me know.
Yep.
But how are you doing this morning?
Nothing much. Well, went for my first run in months, because Sundays I do jogging. Met up with a few friends. I was leaving some comments in the chat while you guys were streaming, and got home about 15 minutes ago. Wanted to join for a little bit.
Yeah. All right. So the question to everybody, David and me and Corey, I think Corey talked about it. Maybe he didn't. So Corey and John, these will be for you. Could you please both give us an underrated player that has played for the team in the past? It could be even a current player. But we've thrown out some good names, and we'd like to hear if you guys want to – somebody maybe that we don't necessarily talk about too much. You know, if you want to talk about like an Antonio Bryant, you know, or we did mention Garrison Hurst, Charlie Garner. So if you guys want to tell us a memory about a player that's you guys have high memories, good vibes about. And I'll start with Corey.
You know, I really like this kid, this man, I'm calling him kid, he's man. If I can say his name right, it's always hard to say his name for me to pronounce his name. The Dominor.
Okay.
Because you know he's been playing pretty good. He's been playing over there in that corner real good. You know, yes, he gave something to Raiders wide receiver and DeAndre, what's his name? Devontae Adams. Everybody gives up to Devontae Adams, and he was right there in his pocket, but he's too short. Devontae Adams, you know, had him with long arms and tall man. So, but I like him. He's I'm looking for him this season to be balling out over there, covering him receivers like he was. I'm hoping he stays strong. And
now, did Lenore change his number to 0?
2, I think.
2, okay.
I think. Don't quote me on that.
No, it's okay. No. Anybody in the chat wants to Google it, you know, like, you know, we're football friends and football, you know, fans. We're not reporters. We don't have everything factual. John, what do you think? Who's somebody that, you know, might not get enough notification or, you know, notarization? You know, somebody who needs more people to pound the table for him. Who's a 49er that you would want to speak of?
Oh man, that's a hard one. We've had a lot of great players. We've had a lot of players who, weren't the big, like, the Joe Montanas, the Ronnie Lotts. I'm gonna go with Navarro Bowman right now, 'cause this is a tough question. Uh, he was a really good player. He was overshadowed uh, by Patrick Willis. Patrick Willis was the man, but Navarro Bowman was really, really good. And just like Patrick Willis, he wasn't with us for a very long time. I think we traded him away, or uh, he left as a free agent. But yeah, Navarro Bowman, good player. Um, Again, the Niners have had so many good players in their history who are really, really good, but did not have the big names. So I'm gonna go at this moment, Navarro Bowman, but
All
there's
right.
others that I can't get in the top of my head right now.
Yeah, think about it for a few minutes, and if you think of somebody else, because like I'd really like to mention Dante Johnson. Like the dude's always on our team. He's always making the practice squad. He'll probably be Mr. Practice Squad his 49er tenure. But it seems like anytime we need to call somebody up, he's coming off his couch or he's already in camp for us. So Steve-O, same question. Who's a 49er player that you'd like to talk about that might not get mentioned? I know you were the other day we were like in Mariah's chat and you had thrown out like Jeremy Newberry, and I know there's some players that that you want to give maybe a highlight of, or somebody that did something cool that you remember.
Yeah, I'm gonna change my answer because Corey's last name is Davis as well as mine, so I'm gonna go with Eric Davis. That's it. I'm biased.
That's all right.
He was a bad player. Nobody ever talks about him though.
Yeah, he doesn't get talked about enough. He really doesn't. I mean, I see him every once in a while, like on 49er channels. He'll do like after game interviews and stuff like that. And dude's got really cool hair, and definitely really smart. And I remember a little bit of his playing days. I know he's really good, but he definitely doesn't get talked about enough.
Yeah.
Mr. Terradome, good morning, and what's your thoughts? I know you were just knowledge of players, so give us somebody that nobody's mentioned yet. Like you want to pull deep, like Steve Bono, or I don't know.
Yeah, Steve Bono. Yeah, I remember Steve Bono. I'm going to say, and I am on this crusade and pilgrimage, Roger Craig needs to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Although to us in the inner workings of the San Francisco 49ers, the greatness and the love that we have, we know how great Roger Craig was. But for some odd reason, my man keeps getting passed over and passed over and passed over again. It's very similar and reticent to it's getting to the point what Drew Pearson went through. Even T.O. was eligible for that. He didn't get that first ballot that coveted, which he very well should have initially. They made him wait. I think it was his third.
Yep.
You got something personal. If you didn't like him standing on his star or the way he signed the ball or whatever, the criteria was what you did on the field, man. It was simply what you did on the field. And in all statistical categories that matter to wide receiver, this guy was either he was either second or third of all wide receivers that ever played the game. And it was a travesty for them to, really just, stick it to the kid a little bit. But he ain't a kid, he's a grown man too. I'm like Dion with that. But stick it to that guy, man. And T.O. just my grandmother used to say, he was a little nice, nasty with his comments. They may have been truthful in his eyes, but bro, you got to know how to say it and you got to know how to play it, but T.O. had no filter. But I'm going to say Roger Craig, man. Roger Craig for me.
All right. I like it. He definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. We were talking the other night, we've talked before too, you and me and the panel here. We think it's the fumble that's holding him out. But do you have any other knowledge? Because I think it was CarCast the other day who had asked how long they can go before they're no longer eligible. And I think it's life, right? They can even pass away and they're still eligible, right? It's just they're not a first-time ballot. They go into like the senior voting or something like that. All right, we are having just a little.
What'd you say? Repeat that question. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to ask is if the Hall of Fame, do you know the criteria in how people get voted in and how long they have to be voted in, or is it for like life?
Oh, sure. They from what I've seen, they're like writers all around the country who sit around and vote, man. And if you can present your case really, really well, like people from the San Francisco, the paper out there, I think it's the Mercury News. For us in Richmond, it was the Richmond Times-Dispatch, Charlotte Observer, whatever. They have these writers come in and they all just run a vote. You make your case for whomever, and then you have a portion that is Hall of Famers that are already there. And then I think it's something else by a committee of some sort. And they run this vote to get it narrowed down to a certain number of finalists. And then from those finalists, there's another vote to come in with, who's going to go in this year. You have to wait 5 years after you retire. And then you have the eligibility for about 10, 15 years, I think it is. And then it becomes a contributor and a senior guy that has time limits on it, and you can actually be timed out. And I think Roger Craig is definitely getting to that time as a senior, because he retired, I want to say around the same time, a few years before Jerry. He went on to the Raiders as well, and it's just, Brian, it is what it is, man. He was the original Marshall Faulk and ushered in the importance of a running back to be a receiver as well as a running back. You could use him in patterns, and Bill Walsh was so innovative using this cat, man, that 60% of the league guys, 60% use a derivative of the Bill Walsh offense in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And that's the importance of what Bill gave to the game. And with that being the point, all the running backs that we like and love today, they were, come off that tree of Roger Craig. Before Roger Craig was doing it, they weren't doing that. It was eye backfield, student body right, student body left, up the gut, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. In high school, we ran a 6'2" defense, which was 6 down linemen and only 2 linebackers. And then we went to a 53. We weren't throwing that ball all around before Bill Walsh and that passing, essence came to be. And he was the catalyst on that. That's why he's my guy.
All right, let me throw a question to everybody. We'll start with Corey up there, and then we'll move it around, and we'll finish with Terradome. I asked Dion just a little while ago, do you guys think we moved off of Mike Nolan too soon? And Corey, what is your thoughts? All right, we're going to go to Steve-O.
Corey said he'd be right back. Look, don't remember what years those were. He was all right.
2005 to 2007, 2008, I think it was. We had Singletary 2 years.
So that's when I quit buying Madden games, and I said I'm not going to buy them until the Niners are good, and I've never bought one since. Okay. I'll just say this. I'm looking forward. You know what I mean? I'm looking ahead. Keep moving forward.
Yeah, I can see it not looking back, but sometimes, like when you do look back in the past, you can reflect and see where we went wrong, or maybe we moved too fast. And we had a lot of good coordinators, but again, our quarterback wasn't staying healthy. Our team was, in the verge of rebuilding. It's like every year we're adding one piece to it, because after what happened in 2003, when we lost T.O., we lost Jeff Garcia, and our team just kind of exploded, the Dennis Eckerson year. The team just wasn't the same. So our 2004 year, we were just, it was nothing to talk about. 2005, we get Alex Smith and Frank Gore, and we started building. And I think 2007, we got Patrick Willis and Joe Staley. So we were building our team, and then right at the point when we're like starting to get good, we go and decapitate the head of the locker room, our coach, our leader, and we go and we replace him with Singletary, which I don't think was a bad choice to replace him with. I just think there was so much maybe hype behind Singletary that they're like, this guy's getting really good. Well, he was getting really good because we got good players on defense at that point. I mean, you can't just say, hey, go and do it, and the guys aren't physically able to do it, or if they're at the bottom of the draft and, practice squad players on our team, and we're trying to, say this is our legitimate 53 roster, and it's really just a bunch of practice players. If he turns that team into something, then I would be like, yeah, but he didn't do that. He used the draft capital and the players that we were forming that Mike had built. And then it was kind of like what happened with Gruden going to Tampa Bay and Tony Dungy. Tony Dungy built the team. He gets moved out. Here comes Gruden. Gruden comes in and boom, wins the Super Bowl. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. Terry,
I really did like Singletary. I mean, I really like that guy.
Yeah, he was good too, and I think maybe we let go of him too soon. But he kind of let himself go in the locker room, and that's why I think we had no choice but to let him go. If you know, you know. So I'm not going to say it out loud. Terradon, what's your thoughts on the Nolan situation? Did we let him go too soon?
Yeah, I think you're referencing the pulling down the pants and saying y'all played like that for Mike Singletary. Yeah, Mike Nolan, man, his passion was there. His pedigree was there. His dad was actually a head coach at one time, and I really liked his nostalgia and respect for the game. He was bringing back ties on the sidelines, a la Tom Landry and the business guys. I think Mike, Big Iron Mike Ditka used to wear a tie under the Bears sweater, which was really Alex P. Keaton from Family Ties. I'm dating myself a little bit. But yeah, you gotta have the players, Brian. You're 100% right, man. You can have the best plan in the world. The Bear defense.
He was frozen.
Yeah.
So maybe drop a linebacker out or two. But
hey, Terradon,
if you, yeah, go ahead, bud.
Why don't you go ahead and drop out and come back in? I think your thing needs to reset. So sometimes if you just drop out of the stream and come back in, because you're freezing a little bit.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll be right back.
I appreciate you.
So let me ask you a question, everybody.
All right.
Everybody in the panel. All right, let me, because I have this big sellout thing right now, right? Win a Super Bowl, be bad for 4 years. Think about when you're growing up, the hottest chick that you liked was Pamela Anderson, Jessica Simpson, J-Lo, Big Booty Judy. I don't care who it is. Think of who that person, right? Would you give up spending one night with that person and then not seeing your kids for like 4 years? 4 years when you get to see your kids, you don't have full custody. You only get to see them on the weekends for a little bit. That's what I feel about the whole, win one. 4 or 6 years.
Yeah, but my point with the whole you got to win and you got to kind of win now is you look at it, you can't keep all those people together. So 4 or 6 years from now, you're going to have a different team. So if you can win with that team now, then you'll have the time to rebuild that core or build a different core, a stronger core, a different nucleus, I could see what you're saying. Trying to stay relevant, but what would you rather be, relevant or a champion? Because they don't take championships away. Relevancy. They could say, "Oh yeah, you're a good team," but then when they look back at it in the last 30 years, you haven't won anything. Oh, but we've been in the playoffs, but you didn't win anything. So it's like, oh, but we sold a bunch of jerseys. We sold a bunch of hats. And everybody's a fan, right? But you don't win. So that's where I'm like, I want him to win sooner or later. I don't want to keep on dancing this. All right, Terry Dome. Back to what we were talking about.
Mike Nolan.
Yeah.
Hart was in the right place. Didn't have the players. That was mainly the thing. You can have the 85 Bears defense, the 46 defense, a bear look, but if
no, it's happening again. It's okay. It's okay. Today, I don't know, man. It's not good weather for you. I think where you're at, it's it's not sunny there for you or something. It's you're freezing a little bit. Let's move to John real quick. John, what's your thoughts on the Mike Nolan situation? Did we move off of him too soon?
He drafted a lot of good players. I want to start off with that, but I got to agree with Terradome. He didn't have that it factor. I don't think he was a head coach material. He was very successful with Atlanta during the Mike Smith era. He's a good defensive guy, like Kyle Shanahan, good offensive guy. Some coaches have it, some coaches don't. He was with the team for 3.5 years. He had an 18 wins, 37 record in 3.5 years. If he would have finished his fourth season, it would have been 4 losing seasons. During that time in the NFL, you had 3 years to build a team. If you could not build a team, not any fault of your own. So I personally, in my opinion, I was glad that we let him go. And I also think it was a PR stunt because they had him dress up, with the top hat and with the suit. And I'm like, what are you doing? You're an NFL head coach. So I kind of felt that it wasn't a really good mix for the Niners to do that, because I think his father, they were hyping up like his father. Look what he did in the early 70s. 3 consecutive games against the Cowboys in the conference championship game. Good resume, but they kind of like set him up for failure, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can see that. All right, since I got you two here, Steve-O and John, David and me, we've kind of already talked about this a little bit. Could either one of you guys give me a memory of Jose Cortez?
I'm back.
You're back. All right, Corey's back.
You see my private chat? I said I'm back.
Corey, real quick, what's your thoughts? Did we get to you? I think I asked you were gone. Did we move off of Mike Nolan too fast?
Well, no, I won't say no. I'm mad at Mike Nolan.
Okay.
Because you know why? Because we could have had Aaron Rodgers, but what he do? He because he didn't like Aaron Rodgers' attitude. He moved to another place with Alex Smith. Also in that draft wanted Aaron Rodgers. I was like, I want Aaron Rodgers, and he drafted Alex Smith. I was like, who Alex Smith? Who? But we might have moved off him too fast to give him a little bit more chance. But like you, we was ready. Super ready. We won the Super Bowl, so I think we were like anxious to get rid of him and move on and get somebody else. But did we go good when we moved to somebody else? So.
Yeah, I agree. We got too anxious there, and he did have some bad luck up and down. And John's right; he was a good defensive mind coach, and he did draft some good players. But we got too anxious, so we moved on. Okay, John, Steve-O, let's go with John first. and then Steve, give me a good Jose Cortez memory.
Here's a-
Jose Cortez. Wow, I haven't heard that name. I remember when I was a kid and Vince McMahon, WWE. So let's make the XFL. And Jose Cortez was a good kicker in that league. So I'm gonna say that. He dominated that league. I think all-time XFL legend, he's the GOAT. In the NFL, I don't know what he did in the NFL. I know he was with the Niners. I can't remember any memories of him. But all I know is he was an XFL kicker. So that's all I know.
He was on our team, I think, 2001, if David read it correctly. And I think he was, Steve-O said he was, I want to say, the worst kicker that we've had. He missed some kicks that we should have made. So, Steve-O, what's your thoughts on Jose Cortez?
I'm going to change my mind. He's the worst player I think the Niners ever had. I mean, I literally hear his name, I want to throw up, and I feel like I tasted it in my mouth like I did throw up. Like, he was the opposite of Robbie Gould, you know? He just wasn't clutch, and I cannot – every time somebody mentions that name, I get so angry.
So, I like the guy because, you know, again, he's a short guy, he could go out and tackle, but at a certain point, it looked like he wanted to make the tackle more than he wanted to make the kick. So, yeah, there a lot of fond memories of the guy. He missed some long kicks that we needed, and he just wasn't the guy that we needed. But supposedly he jumped around to 10 teams. So me and David had made the joke earlier. He got kicked around a little bit. But, yeah. Terradome, you're back. How are you feeling?
I think I'm better. Am I 5x5? Can everybody read me? Am I glitching? Am I? Because I left the computer on all night and it does. I think
you were doing okay until you started dancing. Now you're freezing.
just suck all the Wi-Fi.
That little shimmy, the shimmy got you.
Yeah, when you shimmy a little bit, your computer freezes. But all right, guys, I'm gonna go see Tom Grassi here in a little bit. I'm gonna try to meet up with John Jay. He's supposed to go to the stadium, and they haven't launched or let anybody know where they're going to go somewhere to eat afterwards. There's going to be a fan meetup. I'm hoping it's going to be in Santa Clara. They said it could be at Smoke Eaters in Santa Clara. That's like 5 minutes away from the stadium. And then there's been some people say, "Oh, go to San Jose." So I'm really hoping he doesn't go to San Jose because I'd like to see the stadium. But that should be like closer to the afternoon. They said maybe like 4-ish or something, I'm thinking. But if you guys don't know what's going on, there's a 30 and 30 challenge. There's a tour going on, a fundraiser going on. Tom Grassi is the head of it. He's going to all 30 NFL stadiums in 30 days. And today's the day he's going to Santa Clara. So I'm going to take my family over there. I'm going to show you guys real quick what we're going to go ahead and give him. Because everywhere he's going, fans are showing up and they're giving him something. So Tony made this. It is a 49er cup with different Packer and 49er moments on it. There's
awesome.
Running after, you know, Rodgers and Robbie Gould kicking the game winner, of course. And
oh, wow, that looks good.
so we're going to try to give this to, and then there's Devontae Adams, you know, scoring the touchdown. So it's a friendly cup. It's not all, you know, one-sided. And then on the other side of the cup, we got it where it says Tom Grassi, St. Jude's 30 and 30 fundraiser, and then it's got the St. Jude's on the bottom. So if you have the ability and you can support a fundraiser like St. Jude's, and there's other fundraisers out there too. A good friend of mine has a fundraiser, and if you go on my Twitter, you can find it. If you can donate anything to that, that'd be great as well. People need help sometimes, and that's what the whole idea of the, you know, St. Jude's fundraiser is. It's for kids. And if there's a way that you can help St. Jude's or another fundraiser that's for kids, that's what it's all about. You know, the community helping each other. And again, it means a whole lot to me. My sister, she has heart issues. Her heart's on this side of her body, not this side. Her heart's backward. She's missing a spleen. There's she's got scoliosis, and you know, she's awesome. She's totally awesome. She's been in my chats before. You guys might have been able to say hello to her, but she's a great little girl. She's almost 18, and she's on her way, you know, and they told us 6 days after she was born we were going to lose her. Well, they told us the second day that she was born, we weren't going to be able to keep her. And then 6 days after that, she got medevac from San Joaquin County to UCSF, and they did surgery on her, and she's alive. So if you ever have a problem with your heart, there's 2 places in the United States you should go: UCSF, or you should go to not Berkeley. I'm so sorry now. Boston. Boston's the next hospital for hearts. So if you have a problem, those are the 2 places that are heart. That's where you go. So if you don't know, St. Jude's is in Tennessee. It's in Memphis, and it's really, really cool place. It was founded by Danny Thompson, and I'm going to go today. I'm going to go be around the faithful. Tom Grossi's going around, and he's making people feel good about being a fan, being good about, feeling good about helping the community. And right now, he's raised over $305,000. So he's surpassed 300,000. So we'll see the new numbers every week. If you haven't been able to go check his channel out, go check his channel out. He's doing a tour, a little video of almost each stadium. Some stadiums he's been able to get into, and some he hasn't. But let me pass it to John real quick if John has any more information on this, and then we'll go ahead and get out of here. So been almost 2 hours, guys. Great show. Really appreciate everybody coming. But John, let me hear about what you got going on, and if you have any other information about Tom Grossi, and we'll go around the table.
Let's see. So whenever Tom Grossi drops where the location, I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna blog like I promised. So my journey. Hopefully, I can feature him on the video. Probably bump into Brian, in the family. Meet him first time in person today. So big 49ers Ultimate Report. Gonna have a guest on my show live. Video will be posted later in the week. Then after that, I'm gonna be watching everybody's shows. I know Brian and McNiner have a show. I know Corey has a show. Hopefully, I don't miss Corey's show. If not, sorry, Corey. I know Terra Dome always with his wisdom, Niners wisdom. Steve-O, now he's balling it up. And of course, my podcast shows this week. I got maybe 3 or 4 this week. So make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. Thanks for having me on, man.
All right, I'm going to drop the one down on the bottom, Terradome. I'm bringing your other one in.
Hey, so John Jay, if you guys meet up today, would you guys just do me a favor and play Rochambeau 2 out of 3?
Ooh, that's a nice shirt.
Rochambeau.
I'll lose. I'm horrible at Rochambeau.
I don't even know what it is.
Anyway, I got to go now. You guys keep the show grinding.
All right,
I'll
John, thanks for
Rochambeau
coming.
as long as I get to go first.
Okay.
Everybody, check out John Jay on the 49ers Ultimate Report. He's got a good channel over there. So if you haven't subbed, please go check him out and sub up. All right, John. Thank you very much.
Shout out to my cell phone carrier for disabling my ability to get phone calls and text messages. I do not know when it's going to get fixed, but if I'm in Wi-Fi, it does internet things. So if you know me and you have to get a hold of me, Twitter, Facebook Messenger, and Instagram's the only way to get a hold of me right now.
I mean, if you're going to put them on blast, tell us who it is.
I don't do that. I don't dog companies.
Okay.
I mean, it's a family plan thing. 3 out of 4 of the cell phones are working. And for some reason, my SIM card is not hooking up to my phone. I don't know why.
All right, so
We started.
Corey, let us know what's going on with you.
Well, today I'm going out for lunch or dinner, whatever it's gonna be called. Going up to this place. It's called a Pirate's Place. It's out where towards the water. You wouldn't even know where it's back there. And then come home. I already made my thumbnail for my show tonight at 7. We find out who 2 people that went 17-1, and see if that person earned his fan card back. Is he gonna get his fan card back? I don't know.
Did they get the same answer wrong? On the 17-1? You know what I'm hinting at.
That's
We'll
great.
see who got it all wrong, who got it right. But I know one person got beat by the Eagles fan.
Yeah, that
Again.
Eagle fan can't come in anymore. He's too smart.
So
Making us look bad.
we'll
David, sorry, Corey. David, what do you got going on, man? I know you said your internet provider, and what else you got going on in Colorado today?
Well, I'm in Utah,
So
but
sorry. So sorry.
it's all good, buddy. They're right now. They're neighbors. But yeah,
You're right
it's
there with
just my
Chris
my
Coleman.
phone works like the internet. It does internet things while I'm in Wi-Fi, but if I'm not in Wi-Fi, I'm screwed. So it just kind of is what it is. I'm older. I remember the days you used to call someone's house, leave a message, and wait for them to call you back. I remember those days. But it just kind of is what it is. There's nothing I can do. They don't even have a representative in there for me to talk to until tomorrow. So. And
Yeah.
it's like, how am I even supposed to call them? I'm literally going to have to go to my mom's house and use her ground line.
Oh.
It's like, yeah,
You don't have a
it's
store?
incredibly dumb.
Yes.
You don't have a store nearby?
I believe there's a store in Target, shout out, not sponsored, that can help me. But, we'll see what happens there. I should just stop by there Monday right after work.
When I got my phone 6 months ago, my
you
SIM
try
card wouldn't. It was just a little bit when I push it in because you'd have to have the memory card and the SIM card in, and then you got to slide it in, and it was just moving out enough where it wasn't making the connection. And so I had to deal with that. You had to get it just perfect. So maybe it's that, or maybe it's you got to turn it around. Maybe I don't know. But yeah, I had an issue with mine as well.
I actually swapped the
Yeah,
SIM cards in everybody's phones. So I know it, and it's working in all their phones. So why isn't it working in mine? I think it's a SIM card thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You might want to turn off your phone, take the SIM card out, put it back in there, make sure, boom, and then cut it back on, reboot. Because I had that had my phone. My phone wouldn't work, and I took it down to the store because it wasn't working. Like, and they say, "Oh, your SIM card's not in all the way,"
Oh.
and they put it in.
Oh man, I hope you get it working. Just reach out to me if you need anything, or if you need us to go at a later time for tomorrow. We can push it back. Right now, we're starting at 5:30 for everybody. If you guys are interested, Corey, me, and David will be talking 49ers tomorrow on the the Culpin McNiner show, and we'll be going over, another portion of the team. Pterodome, what do you got going on? And
I'm going to be on with CJ Ruthless, noon my time. I think we're doing it Thursday. I believe we're doing it Thursday. Just look for the thumbnail. I'll be on with my man CJ Ruthless. We're going to do some big things, talk some big things. Also, now that y'all bring it up, there was a hack in the southeastern United States. It was affecting our computers at work. I think if you have a base of a carrier in the southeastern United States, the Russians, I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but they've been hacked in essence, and there's some friction with a lot of computers and different things going out if you're based in the southeastern United States. They're working through it, they say, but it's probably affecting my choppiness today. And it could be, that could be something you're looking at too, David McNiner. But we got training camp starting soon, and I'm just evaluating the players and just growling at the living foul, who are not engaging, I feel, correctly and giving props to where they need to give props to. And y'all just check me out. I'll be around doing my thing.
All right. I love it. I really do. Steve-O, did I get to you? I know you got some new stuff happening. So what's going on with you in your neck of the woods?
Oh, just I got to finish some yard work today because I probably last day I'm going to be doing it. Going back to work, so I'll miss the day stream. So pretty excited about that.
Sure.
That's
All
pretty
right.
much it.
That's cool. That really is cool. That's gonna be a good move for you. You know, you're gonna start feeling good for yourself, and we'll still see you around. You'll still be around, but yeah, everybody, thanks for coming. Really appreciate you. Always a good turnout. You guys know how to get a hold of me if you want to jump on the show. If you're in the chat and you have questions, always feel free to ask. You guys know how to do that as well. If you hear my girls in the background, I'm gonna have to go give them some elbows. They're getting a little wild, but rather have them get it out now before the car trip, right? So
Yeah.
you know, definitely keep your eyes out because later I'll try to do something cool, have some pictures or something. Maybe get to run into John Jay. Definitely gonna try to meet John Tom Grossi today. Guys, before we go, what did the wide receivers say to the football?
Girl close can't jump.
Catch you later. And with that,
All right, that was good.
guys, we're gonna get out of here. Thanks for coming. Please like and subscribe to all of our guys here. Every one of us have channels. We're doing things. We do things with each other all the time. I'm putting the description in the link later, so you come back and take a look and subscribe if you haven't. And please check out Corey Davis later tonight. And we're gonna get out of there. If you haven't and you have an opportunity, please donate to a charity if you do have that opportunity because it makes you feel good. And sometimes you can't do it. If you can do it later, a couple of months from now, that's all that matters is you do something. And if you can't do it right now, again, just passing the word helps a whole lot. So with that, guys, go Niners. Appreciate you.
Go Niners.
Go Niners. F the Lambs. And my cell phone carrier.